If you're looking for trouble, I'll accommodate you. Otherwise, leave it alone.
And I said, why did we have to wait? And they said that was dynamite. But then you have the reverse of that where, I know, but it's not my problem. You're stuck out there. Hi, welcome to Comedy Parenting Radio, the show that uses Cheerios for life preservers on...
Captain Crunch's ship.
Today we're talking about things that fall off. I'll bet you know of a couple of things that fall off. We'll see what our list is, and we'll compare notes after this message.
This moment of uncontrollable laughter was made possible by a 32-year-old man with little to no coordination attempting to execute a simple cartwheel. His name is Sergeant Warner, but young James, our laughing friend here, simply calls him Dad. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
All right. For $1 million and a free trip to Goshen, Indiana, what do the letters CPR stand for?
Cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
So sorry. They stand for Comedy Parenting Radio.
If you trust your rebel heart, ride into battle. Don't be afraid. Take the road less traveled. Wear out your boots and kick up the gravel. Don't be afraid. Take the road less traveled on.
Things that fall off. First thing that comes to mind would be books that are piled up.
Oh yeah. It's like the Leaning Tower of Pizza.
I have literally made forts out of books. We have so many of them.
We have books on all three layers of our house, and what'll happen is I'm laying in bed, and all of a sudden there'll be some big crashing sound.
That was my collection of books for the week, coming at a swift pace off my bed onto the floor.
Sometimes it's glacial. You can actually hear them sliding before they crash down. Yeah. And it's never such a big deal unless it's like really nice books.
Yeah.
Like the gigantic hardbound atlas that weighs about 10 pounds.
Yeah. And then you're just hoping that no one is below you on the bunk bed. So
that thing can do some damage.
Look out below.
I swear, I get piled in books every night that I get piled in books.
You know what's another thing that comes to mind when I think of just things in general falling?
What?
Riders on a horse.
Riders on a horse.
Yeah, especially if they're inexperienced noobs.
Well, you know they say you aren't an actual cowboy until you've fallen off your horse at least once.
No, I'm thinking like inexperienced. Hello, like what about like professional rodeo?
Yeah.
They get paid tens of thousands of dollars to fall off
the horse.
Yeah, fall
Unless
off the
it's
horse.
a community rodeo.
Yeah. Or a sheep.
They still make a decent amount of money.
Really?
Or sheep, yeah.
Well, for some of our listeners out there, they don't know that on some rodeos, little kids ride on sheep and they see how long they can hang on.
Yeah, it's called mutton busting. So you get a 3-year-old, put them on a sheep, and the sheep takes off running, and you see how long the 3-year-old can stay on there.
The first time I ever fell off of a horse, I got scraped off of the horse when it walked under a thorn tree.
Well, that's pleasant.
Yeah.
The second time I fell off of a horse, the horse scraped me off on barbed wire fence.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
The third time I fell off of a horse, it just reared up and went over backwards on top of me.
That's even more worse.
And the fourth time I fell off a horse, the horse just sunk in the mud and fell over on its side.
That's a little better.
It was a soft landing.
You know, a lot of things that fall out, and this is like a universal thing and a worldwide thing, it's screws.
I'm having that happen this week. The little screws that hold my little sunshade in my commuter car, all 3 screws are coming out at once. I keep turning them in by hand just part way. And the sunshade is hanging at about a 45-degree angle.
You know, with how bad our road is and with how many car parts fall off and break because of it, you think that after a little while you could probably just collect them all and build yourself a brand new car, more or less.
You know, we have screws that come out that hold our doorknobs on.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Set screws.
One doorknob in particular.
Oh, French
One or
doors.
two.
Well,
doors.
the French doors, the door handle thing there comes off all the time.
Also, a front door. So there's a lot of times where someone's knocking at the door they're trying to get in. You're trying to pull the handle off. You're trying to open up the door and you rip the handle right off, and then you're just standing there looking at it, and you're like, "I'm sorry, y'all. You're gonna have to come back another day."
You know, it's another funny thing. You go outside, and the door handle has already fallen off, and so you go outside, and then you go back to open the door.
You're stuck out there.
Yeah, there's no handle. You're stuck.
Then you're just trying to use your immense grip strength to grab whatever is left there and try to turn it.
It's like shaking hands with a robot that doesn't have a hand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a arm.
It's really bad.
It's Comedy Parenting Radio, things that fall off. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Well, it's a strange old game. You learn it slow. One step forward and it's back to go.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Move to the back of the bus, folks. Fill up the back seats.
Good grief.
Why don't you guys sit in the back of the bus?
Because you're playing Comedy Parenting Radio up here, and we want to hear it.
What's the first baseman's name?
No, what's the second baseman?
I'm going to start asking you. I ask you, what's the first baseman's name?
What's the second baseman?
I don't even get past the first. All right, who's on second?
Who's on first?
What base do you want to talk about?
You talk about anyone you want to talk about.
All right, now who's on first?
Right.
Okay.
No.
All right, you got a first baseman.
Yes.
When you pay off the first baseman every month, who gets the money?
Every dollar of it. Every dollar of it.
Who gets it?
He does. Sometimes his wife comes down and collects it. Whose wife? Yeah.
Comedy Parenting Radio, things that fall off.
A parrot that gets shot off a pirate's shoulder.
That would fall.
It would also probably have quite the show of fireworks around.
Maybe feathers. I don't know.
Foreseen consequences?
This is one thing you really never see in the pirate movies, is it?
No.
No, I can't say that I've ever seen. Nobody aims for the parrot. Why would they?
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, shoot the parrot. Come on. That'll distract the pirate.
It's a jerk move among pirates to shoot another pirate's parrot.
Oh, well, maybe that's the problem there.
It's the unspoken rule of chivalry where no matter what you do not shoot another pirate's parrot.
It's the only part of the pirate's code that isn't more of a guideline.
Courtney, what would be another thing that might fall off?
You know what? I have clothes that fall off of clotheslines all the time.
Oh, at our house, what a problemo.
Oh, yeah. Then you find the shirt somewhere down the hill like 2 years later, and it's got a really cool sun-bleached pattern.
Time out. For those people who didn't learn from before, our house is on a cliff, and the clothesline is on a cliff, and so if the clothes blow off the clothesline, they blow off the cliff.
Yep.
And they could land on the neighbors' cars down below, in theory.
Oh, yeah.
In theory, yes.
In theory. You know, another thing that falls off would be those, those googly-eyed stickers where little eyeballs spin around.
Oh, yes, I love those.
Well, when they have bad glue and they don't stay on, then it's just one eyeball.
It looks even googlier.
Am I the only person that works somewhere that people put googly-eyed stickers everywhere?
They don't do that at my job.
You know what? I've never seen googly-eyed stickers on the swing.
I think it's just you, actually. It sounds
They,
like a
they
you
don't
problem.
do it at like NASA or anywhere like that, or
NASA? Maybe NASCAR.
Although, I did see somebody that put googly eyes in the back of their backpack.
Well, anyway, when they have bad glue, they those things fall off.
You know what else falls off?
What?
Hair that's been attacked by chemicals. Like bleaching. If you bleach your hair too much, it'll destroy your hair.
Who sticks their head in a bucket of bleach?
You, apparently. That must be why you're so blonde.
I have blue eyes.
But then you have the reverse of that, where guys put chemicals in the hair to glue it back in.
Oh, yeah.
Or make it come in or something. I don't know how that works. I don't use that stuff.
So they use chemicals to pay the hair factories in their heads. like what England did with Hong Kong.
Moving right along, this one is near and dear to my heart, and it's actually still a problem. And that is on the things that fall off is I went to crank our window open in the studio last fall, and it popped loose, and it's hanging by one hinge.
Nobody touchy.
So we have this like 2 by 4 foot window, which is about to go crashing to the ground, but right now it's all locked down, so it can't happen, right?
Can you remind me which window it is so I don't accidentally open it?
It's that one on the left. On the left.
Oh, okay.
Far left?
Stop it. No, not exit stage left, not skiers left, but just look at the window left from in the studio. It's the left window. But you know what's probably going to happen?
What?
I'll be up here on a really nice spring day all by myself, cleaning up the studio. Let's look for some fresh air, and I'll pop the little latch, crank it, one crank open, and then I'll watch this whole thing go crashing to the ground.
I'll probably cry.
Put some tape over it or something.
Big old sign.
Sticky note. I love
Weld
sticky
it.
notes.
Those sticky notes don't always stick. Sometimes they fall off, and then yeah.
True.
You know what doesn't fall off? Welds.
Depends on who's welding. I've seen some pretty bad welds.
I have with me a written up song about things that fall.
Okay, now introducing Josiah with a written up song.
Dun dun la 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 dun 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 dun. Falling off a ladder and falling off a jerry rig and falling off a toadstool and falling off a big rig and serious danger can occur. And I have no more lines to go off of now.
That was the written up song of the day.
It's a Broadway smash.
Comedy Parenting Radio, things that fall off. Stay tuned.
The only ground I ever owned was sticking to my shoes. Now I look out my front porch at this panoramic view. I can sit and watch the fields.
Ranger Station.
Hi, I want to report a bear sighting.
Location.
My front door. It was Smokey Bear. My husband was burning leaves in the yard. He just came inside for a second.
Never leave a fire unattended. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
Smokey said that too.
We go way back. I knew him when he was just a cub.
How cute.
If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Comedy.
Parenting.
Radio. Radio.
Walk like an Egyptian.
Well, we're coming into the final segment of the show, and there are some things that fall off that we all know about. For example, dirt bikers fall off their dirt bikes.
What?
I've done
Bicyclists fall off their bicycles.
I've done that.
Skateboarders fall off their skateboards.
Oh,
I've
I
done
can tell
that.
about that.
We've got stories that could go till the cows come home.
The cows are already home, Dad.
Sometimes the cows fall off the truck, too.
Oh, no.
I was at the ski area one time, and they made us stop, and 2 ski patrollers put boxes on the chairlift. Then they got on the next chairlift, and they waited 5 chairs, and then they let us on. And I said, why did we have to wait? And they said that was dynamite going up the lift. So you'd hate to have that fall off of the lift.
Sweet.
Especially if you were skiing down below.
Well, I would imagine you would want to wait until the dynamite's at the top, because if that blows on the lift, I mean, there goes your line. There goes your haul rope. Boom.
Like a rubber band.
Yep.
Nah. This is back in the old day of like fun and frivolity and danger.
We could take a page from Cinderella's book when we look at this. Shoes and flip-flops tend to fall off when you run.
Ooh, the slash glipper that fell off of Rindersella when she's staying up the rares.
Yes, exactly.
Here's another thing that falls. The load of lumber that you get at the lumber yard. Unless you're an idiot and don't tie it down to the bottom of your truck.
The only reason that your load goes flying off of your whatever you're carrying it on is because you don't flick the ratchet strap and say that's not going anywhere. It's true.
That's true.
It's a tradition for a reason.
It's a safety thing. I was at a lumber yard, and a guy had 3 pieces of 2x4s that were about 10 feet long sticking out the back of his little tiny Toyota truck with a cap on it.
Nice.
He had the tailgate down, and the 3 pieces of lumber were slanted down.
Oh, no.
The guy at the gate checked him and went, "Yep, you got your 3 pieces of lumber. Goodbye." And when he drove off, and then I drove up and I said to the guy, "You know that lumber's going to fall out of there." And he goes, "I know, but it's not my problem." I watched that guy in the truck go out onto the state highway and drive 50 feet, and all 3 pieces slid out onto the highway.
I think the guy just wanted a show.
Oh, my word. That was his entertainment for the day, was just watching that guy pick up his lumber 50 feet from the lumberyard. Oof. I can only think of 2 more things that actually fall.
Is one of them a bucket of paint?
How'd you know?
I've seen you paint.
Yeah. Buckets of paint. I know a guy in Aspen, true story. He said that a painter was painting inside of a fancy house in Aspen. The paint fell on the carpet, and the guy grabs the little house dog and rolls the dog in the paint and stands there going, "Bad Fifi, bad, naughty Fifi."
Genuinely?
Yeah. And the lady came in and went, "Oh, poor Fifi, did you knock over the paint?"
Oh, my goodness.
Holy cow,
So
the
instead of getting
scumbag.
fired and having to pay for everything, the dog was loved to death by the lady.
I suppose all is well that ends well.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest thing that I could think of that falls?
What's that?
Rome.
But Rome didn't fall in a day, you know.
But it sure was built in one.
You've been listening to Comedy Parenting Radio, Things That Fall Off. Thanks for coming in the studio.
You're welcome. I almost fell up the stairs trying to get here.
You know, I just fell off a bus and found this place.
It wasn't an accidental fall off. You might have been shoved.
Bad things happen to you when you don't pay for a ticket.
Bye-bye. Did anybody see the cup of coffee I set on the top of my car before I went to work this morning?
Pretty sure it fell off, Dad.